So we're sitting here talking about
More misconceptions.
all of the misconceptions of.
I was actually singing. You want me to sing?
Yeah, go.
I'll sing. It would be
Ready,
my
go.
pleasure to sing.
You made me sing VeggieTales. You can sing this.
We three kings of. I don't know that words.
Nobody knows. But
Glory and awe, maybe.
mm,
Glory and awe. Brandon's shaking his head no. So
that's definitely not the words. But we're getting to the point where the Magi are coming to visit Jesus. There's a couple of things that up until this point we've realized are like, did somebody just like not read the Bible?
Yeah.
Or were they just like, what were they doing? The donkey.
yeah, not in there.
The donkey. But then Caitlin was saying too, like not just the donkey, but the donkey, there's a picture of like the donkey, her riding on the donkey with the star in the sky. Like,
Yeah, with a star in the sky and
I ain't there
on
yet.
their way to Bethlehem with this big old belly. But first of all, we don't know that there was a donkey, and second of all, like the star wasn't there yet. And then we were singing, back to the song that I just blessed you with. We three kings. They weren't kings.
No,
there was probably more than three of them.
And they call them, like, throughout time, they're called wise men. Like, they may very well have been wise, but they were magi. They were, which are, like, astronomers. Like, they're people who study the stars. And that has its own significance in the story. But there are so many things about, and too, we'll talk about this in a second, like, they didn't come to the manger. So our, like, nativity picture is jacked up.
And then, like, the heavenly host, like, coming to the manger, like, declaring to everybody, Jesus is here.
Like,
That's
no.
not really what happened. Mm-mm. It's cute, but...
Cute. And we said, too, that, like...
Well, and did you know that, like, some people say, and I mean, I don't know, I need to go to Jerusalem. I just need to see it for myself. But they say, like, the manger was more of a cave.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Like, it was in a cave.
Yeah. So, not a barn, no donkey, not a... What do we say? The Magi did not come there.
And not three of them.
Not three
most
of them.
of the time. Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably. Not three of them.
Just three written about. Because of the gifts.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, in your Christmas story production, think about making it biblically accurate.
Can you imagine a biblically accurate Christmas production, though? Like, we need 73 angels to come to the shepherds in the field.
And a cave.
Uh-huh.
And a real
And
pregnant
cut
lady.
the donkey.
Real pregnant lady waddling down the center aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Okay. So, our story today in our 21st Advent episode
21st.
is the Magi. So,
Magi.
welcome to For Heaven's Sake. And they are in Matthew 2 in verses 1 through 12. And this says, Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About the time some wise men, asterisk in my Bible, royal astronomers. Oh, not astronomers. Royal astrologers. The Greek reads Magi.
That's what CJ wants to be when he grows up now.
An astrologer?
Yeah, he wants to go to the Mars.
That's an astronaut?
Mm-hmm.
Not an astrologer.
That's what he wants to study the stars, and he wants to go to Mars. That's what he says.
Oh, okay.
But so recently, like, we got his report card back, and I talked to him, and I was like, CJ, no. I was like, CJ, do you know what this is? And he was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm really smart. And I was like, okay, I'm going to look.
Thing to say.
And he said, Mom, I'm really good at science, and you really only have to be good at one. That's what he said. And I was like, yeah, but... And he was like, just take me out of school and put me in space school. And I'm like, well, then I open it up. He's got 100 in science. He wasn't wrong.
That's good.
So, and straight A's. So I was like, you're actually really good at all of them, CJ. And you need to be good at all of them. Okay? You can have your favorite, but...
But
he was
be good
like,
at all.
I only need to be good at one. I mean, and really, do I want to tell him? But
Not wrong.
just find your niche and stick to it.
Stick to it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to homeschool. Teach him about the
Yeah,
stars.
I can't do that.
Okay. Back it up. So, where are we at? Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About the time, some wise men, astrologers, Magi, from the eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leaders and priests and teachers of religious law and asked, "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" "In Bethlehem in Judea," they said, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd for my people Israel." Then Herod called a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. And when you find him, come back and tell me so that I may go and worship him too." After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. And they opened their treasure chest and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And when it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. So they had come looking for Jesus, and when they found him, they bowed down and they worshipped him. And this is significant because they worshipped him. He was a kid at this point. They weren't worshiping him because he had done anything up until this point. They were worshiping him simply because of who he was. Mm-hmm. And we need to check ourselves on how often we worship God just because he's God. Yeah. Like worshiping Jesus just because he's Jesus and he came to save us from our sins. Mm-hmm. We can learn from him. And then in talking about them following the stars, we talked about them being astrologers and that they followed the star that was spoken by Balaam in Numbers 24:17. And I was going to mark that, and I didn't, so I will jump there. 24:17. And it says, "I see him, but not here and now. I perceive him, but far in the distant future. A star will rise from Jacob. A scepter will emerge from Israel. It will crush the foreheads of the Moab people and crack the skulls of the people of Sheth." So he's the star that they're following is the star that was prophesied literally in Numbers. He says that he didn't see him now, but that he saw him like in the distant future, that a star would rise from Jacob. And this is significant moving forward because they had lots of people in this time knew Old Testament prophecy. They knew that the star was going to be what would lead them to Jesus. And I wrote in here about the nativity picture that, we picture them coming to the nativity with the gifts, and but he was likely 1 to 2 years old and didn't even come to the place where he was born. It says that that they entered the house and
definitely
saw
not
the child
with the shepherds.
Yeah, and that they saw the child with his mom, and that they came from a far ways off. So it would take them a long time to get to Jesus from where they were. We talk a lot about the fact that they brought these gifts. And so they brought gifts that would symbolize his identity and both what he would accomplish. So you see that they brought him gold, which is a symbol of his royalty. They brought frankincense, which was a symbol of his deity. And they brought him myrrh, which was a spice for burial, which was the prophetic of his future. And that in this meeting, not only did meeting Jesus, but then this dream that they had also to not go back to Herod. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about King Herod and why they thought that they should not go back to King Herod.
Magi to a mad guy.
That one.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys kind of got some insight into the nativity and to the story of Christmas, and hoping that some of these teachings will help you kind of realize that while it is good to remember, it's also important to remember things, to identify the things that are biblically accurate versus the things that have just been commonplace, which we've talked about a few times today. So we hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will join us next time on For Heaven's Sake. See ya.
I'm ready.